Hello Ipswich, I am Tony Marino, I'm your town manager, and we're here for our, unfortunately, week 7 now of our COVID-19 update. I just wanted to keep the community and our residents and business owners up to date with what's going on in the town. We've got a little bit different lineup today. We've got a few different guests with us today, and I'll introduce shortly is our chairperson of the select board, Willy Whitmore, and joining Dr. Brian Blake later on in the programming will be Barry Hopping, the chair of the school committee. And then our regular guests of Sheila Taylor, Colleen Fermon, and Chris Bevilacqua from the YMCA. So I just want to give an update with the governor extending the orders, the stay-at-home order until May 18th. We are going to adjust the town hall operating hours. The staff will still be there as we've been since the beginning, but we will be closed to the public until May 11th at the soonest. We may end up changing that, but right now it's going to be May 11th. But keep up to date on the website. We'll keep it posted on the homepage if that changes. Currently, our case count of COVID-19 cases in Ipswich is 48. A lot of those people have already quarantined and are back to work, and some, like I said before, are in multiple cases in the same household. So we probably have anywhere from 25 to 30 active cases right now in Ipswich. I do want a reminder about Crane Beach hours. We actually didn't put the detail out there today because of the rain, but we are open on Saturday and Sunday this weekend, and normally Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 9 to 5. We want to remind everybody it's resident only, and you need to have a 2019 or 2020 beach sticker. Pavilion Beach is also open to residents only, but please, that beach is not like Cranes, as everybody knows, and it's a little more difficult down there to safely socially distance, so we just, please be careful when you're parking in the parking lot and utilizing the beach. Right now I'm going to introduce Willy Whitmore, and I also want to have him give an update on what's going on with FinCom. We have some change in dates there, and update on what FinCom's doing for their warrant hearing. So now I'm going to pass it over to Chairperson of the Select Board, Willy Whitmore.
Thanks, Tony. Some updates that we have going on in town right now. The Finance Committee warrant hearing is scheduled for Tuesday, May 12th and Thursday, May 14th, and will be done on a Zoom call. Bean counting was originally scheduled for May 9th, but we have postponed that until a later date. We don't have a date for that yet, and also for folks who are wondering about town meeting, we are still at this point planning on holding a town meeting. We're not sure exactly logistically how to do that or when, but it will probably be in the latter half of June. So again, we are doing meetings as often as we can, as regularly scheduled as we can. Please be patient with using the Zoom and the virtual meeting format.
All right, great. Thanks, Willy. Also on that is, as everybody may or may not know, there was an emergency public health order put out yesterday by myself and the Public Health Director, Colleen Fermon. And I want to just clarify a few points on that because there seems to be a little bit of confusion as I've seen some of the emails to me and some Facebook posts out there. But the order is just for essential businesses. So essentially, pharmacies, supermarkets, takeout restaurants, things like that. You need to have a mask on when you go in those places. And then all the employees obviously need to have masks on as well. It includes Aubuchon Hardware, Tedford's, Tractor Supply. Anything that's still open is considered an essential business. In order to go in and frequent and use those businesses, you need to wear a mask. And that'll also include, once we open to the public, town hall as well. Regard to the fine, we hope to not have to use the fine, but that's statutorily guided. So the language in the order was up to $300. I know there's been a few stories out there that said it's $300, but I can assure you that nobody will be fined $300. That was an up to amount. I have talked to the police chief. If he does get any calls, which hopefully he doesn't because everybody's going to comply, but if somebody chooses not to, the first step will just be to ask them to put a mask on. Second step will be just to ask them to not frequent the business, and then obviously if it gets to that level, there may be a fine, but it will not exceed $25 for the first time. So I wanted to clarify that. The Board of Health will be having a follow-up meeting on this order on May 11th. They may adjust and do something with the fines at that point, but the Board of Health will do a follow-up meeting and see if they want to make any changes to that order. But that's where it stands right now. What this order doesn't do, it does not prohibit you walking outside without a mask, walking your dog, running, bicycling, anything like that. You do not need a mask outside in public places right now. This is just for inside essential businesses. So I did want to clarify that. Willy, with regard to that, I know you had gotten some feedback on that. Did you want to elaborate on that and some of the feedback you got on the mask requests?
Sure, Tony. We were getting some questions from citizens who were trying to figure out when it was appropriate, when it wasn't, and why some towns were promoting it. We also noticed that the governor had brought it up a bit as far as returning to work and when other processes may be coming in the future, that masks will, there's a good chance masks will be involved. So some of the idea was just to make it easier and more consistent, to take a bit of a precautionary approach and to, to require masks in essential places. So that's one of the reasons why we did this.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to point out that this was done certainly not in a vacuum. This was, I'm in constant contact with some members of the select board. Colleen, Fermon's in constant contact with the members of the Board of Health, so there was a lot of collaboration as this order was drafted, so I didn't want anybody to think that we did this without discussing it with the elected and appointed boards in the town. And lastly, as everybody knows, at the last select board meeting, there was a lot of discussion about water rates. The select board, in their role as the water and wastewater commissioners, have in the past, we do a summer and a winter rate, and that changes based on the season. But this year, with the COVID-19 crisis coming about, they decided to do something a little different this year with the water rate. So I'm just going to pass it back to Willy to sort of discuss where we stand with that right now and what the next steps will be.
Thanks, Tony. So what the select board decided was to delay the switch up to the summer rate. And what we have done is we have implemented a 2-month base rate. So normally we have a summer rate and a winter rate. The summer rate, as most folks know, is about 3 times higher than the winter rate. So what we've decided to do is to set a base rate, which is something basically in between. And we will be doing that for the months of May and June. As of now, we don't have a final plan yet past June, but basically everyone will see a water rate increase in their June bill, but that rate will not be as substantial of an increase as it would have been under the summer rate. So this is a difficult decision for 2 reasons. One is we know that people are having some financial hardships right now, so we're trying to find ways to make it work. But we also do have obligations and we have bills and budgets that have to be followed and paid. This is a challenging decision because it's taking place at the end of the fiscal year for the town. So ending the year in a negative is a difficult thing to do and to make operations and the budget work correctly. So this base rate is what we've decided to do. Another thing I would follow up is one of the key reasons we have the summer rate is to reduce water consumption in the summer, in the peak time. And it's very effective at that. It's something that we've done for, I believe, 6 years now, and it's worked very well. One thing that we are looking into and that we will consider at a future select board meeting is implementing water restrictions, some type of water use restrictions to sort of offset the fact that we're not using the summer rate. So stand by for that.
All right, great. Thank you, Willy. All right, so now we're going to pass it off to give an update on the schools. Willy and I are going to step out, and Dr. Brian Blake and Barry Hopping, the chairperson for the school committee, will be joining you shortly. So I will pass it off to Brian and Barry now. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Tony. Just a few updates and reminders for this week. As you know, last week the governor had closed schools for the remainder of the school year, and the Commissioner of Education was set to issue additional guidance for districts by the end of last week. We received that guidance late Friday night. The guidance outlined a suggested process and certain power standards that students should be exposed to and learn for next year. After reviewing the documents over the weekend and the early part of this week with our Director of Teaching and Learning and the principals, I'm happy to report that Ipswich is in a very good place. Over the past 4 to 5 years, we've shifted our curriculum to be all standards-based, so we're in better shape than many districts. For students and parents, this new phase of remote learning will not look much different than it does today. Our teachers are working hard to finish out the year and have students prepared as best they can for next year. Our last day of remote learning for this year is still scheduled for June 17th unless we hear otherwise from the Commissioner or the Governor. The middle school Walk for Hunger raised over $12,000 this year. This year, For the food pantry, obviously they're in greater need than ever. Please continue to remember those in need during this time, and thank you for your generosity. Each building principal is making individual plans to have students and teachers come back into the buildings on some sort of schedule to collect the rest of their belongings and pack up their classrooms. Principals will be in contact with families in each of their individual schools. Right now, our custodial staff is in the buildings catching up on some maintenance work. They're doing some painting and repairs and things like that that they can't get to during the school year. The high school is currently working on plans for our seniors and graduation. We have a committee that's made up of staff, students, and parents to look at how we can create a memorable experience for our seniors. The athletic department has already developed and produced senior recognition videos for our athletes that have been posted to social media, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to broadcast them on ICAM as well. Remember that the meals for our students are still being served 5 days a week. Those meals are available for any students. It's breakfast and lunch, not just those on free and reduced lunch. The meal delivery locations and times again are Rosewood from 11:30 to 12:30, the Winthrop School from 11:30 to 12:30, Agawam Village from 11:30 to 12:15, and Powder House Village from 12:15 to 12:30. A special shout out today for all of our food service workers. They have been true heroes through all of this, preparing meals 5 days a week for all of our students in need. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication to the children of Ipswich. At this point, I'd like to turn it over and introduce Barry Hopping, the chair of the Ipswich School Committee. Barry?
Thank you, Brian. And on behalf of the school committee, I'd like to especially thank members of the leadership team, our teachers, support staff, related service providers, our parents, and most especially our students for their response to these unprecedented times we are now facing. For those of you still not certain of how the school district has responded, I would strongly urge you to view the ICAM recording of the April 23rd meeting of the school committee, at which members of our leadership team spelled out in great detail what has been happening at each of the schools as well as at the district level. Virtual teaching and learning has certainly challenged us all. Finally, I'd like to ask that as a community, we not forget about our graduating seniors. This year, more than ever, graduation is much more than just a school event. It is a celebration the entire town should take part in. Let's find a way to make it happen for our class of 2020. Thank you, and at this time, I'd like to turn it back to Tony.
All right, thank you, Barry and Brian, for that update. We appreciate it. And now we're here with Colleen Fermon, our Public Health Director, who's going to give us an update on what's going on from the public health front.
So as Tony had previously stated, there's 48 cases currently. Of those, 27 remain under isolation. We've had 50 contacts, and 25 of those have finished their quarantine period. This fluctuates obviously daily, but you can get that information from the town website. It is linked to mass.gov, and it will show you the case counts that are updated every Wednesday. In addition, on the town website, we do have a PowerPoint that took the information from March and through April 23rd and broke it out so you could see cases by age group and also by gender. If you go to the state website, which again is linked through the town, you can also look at their dashboard that provides information, all sorts of demographics, gender, age, ethnicity, things of that nature if you wanted to look at information regarding the state. I also want to just update you a little on contact tracing and case tracing. So as you might have heard previously, we have a public health nurse, Pam Lara, who is overseeing the additional nurses hired to help with case and contact tracing. I just want to identify their names for you, Jennifer Reed, Paula Butt, and Sherry Gallant. Why it's important to know their names is they may be calling you or a family member, and you want to make sure you return those phone calls. It's very important people understand isolation and quarantine, and they follow those protocols. So please return calls if you're hearing from them. I also want to thank them. Pam Lara has been working an enormous amount of hours over her normal schedule to keep things together, and all the nurses have been doing a fantastic job, so I really appreciate all their support they're providing to the health department. In addition, you may have heard that the Commonwealth entered into an agreement to have Partners in Health help with contact tracing. So Ipswich was able to join with Partners in Health mid-April, and they have taken on some cases, so it's important that you do respond to those people also that call you. So their return message or their ID when they call will say Mass COVID Team. So if you do get a call and you see that, please pick up. It's important that you do have a conversation with them to fully understand what's necessary to be done if you're a case or a contact. And we'll continue to work with them, and so you may hear from them in the future if you haven't already. Also, I just want to point out that they won't be asking you any information regarding Social Security or insurance, so in case anyone is asking you that, do not provide that information. That would not be a legitimate call. Any concerns, please call the health office, 978-356-6606, and we can verify if someone's trying to reach you. Lastly, it's really important to continue to follow the stay-at-home advisory the governor issued, and also to follow the order that Tony and I had issued regarding wearing face masks when you're out at essential buildings. It's not for the outside if you're just exercising or in your own yard or walking down the street. The goal of that is to make sure we're protecting especially the people who have to work all day long and are supporting our community. We want to make sure we keep them safe, so that's why we want the masks in place. We also want the general public who are going in and patronizing these businesses to be safe. So the goal is to keep everyone safe and to keep the case counts down. If you need guidance on anything, feel free to reach out to the Public Health Department or go to the Ipswich website. There's lots of information, and if you can't find what you're looking for, please give us a call. We're happy to help you. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Colleen. And I did want to point out, along with our public safety officials, our public health office has been one of the busier and most hardworking offices in Town Hall. Colleen and her staff have done a great job with dealing with all the cases as they come in, but also keeping up with some normal business operations with regard to food inspections and questions, and also septic system installs, et cetera, et cetera. So they've done a great job, so I just want to take a moment to thank them for that. So up next we have Sheila Taylor, our Council on Aging Director. Sheila will give us an update on what's going on with our seniors and our meal delivery programs and all the other wonderful things they're doing for our Ipswich residents.
Thank you, Tony. So it feels like this week is sort of the pinnacle for a lot of people. A lot of people are feeling stress. A lot of people are feeling that we've had it, and when is this going to end? The deadline was extended to May 18th, as we all know. That happened this week. So people have been saying, how long can we deal with this? How am I going to get through this? So the answer that we say to ourselves, honestly, too, and to everybody is, we'll do whatever we have to. We'll all get through it. We'll all talk about it later, and we'll decompress at some point, but we all know that we're going to do this as long as we have to, and we'll get through it, and the key is together. So that said, as you all know from prior weeks of these sessions, that we have been doing all of this together with great staff, with great volunteers, with great support from everybody in the community and the town. So that all continues. And what are we in, week 7 or something? So that will continue as long as necessary. So to that extent too, we're able to increase the amount of meals that we provide every day. So first they started at 80, then they went to 100, and now they're at 110. We have maybe now again a couple people more on the waiting list, but a couple have decided that it wasn't a good option for them. So mostly we're caught up. But Monday through Friday we deliver 110 meals, either deliver or have them picked up at the senior center in a safe method. So we've been very grateful for that through both Senior Care and Pomodori. So we're very fortunate. Thank you to everybody that has so far donated to the Friends of Ipswich Elderly. That has really helped to support the cost of the meals from Pomodori. So we're very fortunate for that and appreciate that. We also, now this is even more especially important with the mandate from the town for people to wear masks when you are going into stores or other essential businesses that are open, that you have to have a face mask. So we do still have face masks. We've probably given out, I think now, probably about 700 or 800 masks to people. So Lieutenant Hubbard dropped off another large supply to us yesterday, so we have a lot more masks. So what we're just doing is when people call, we put them in Ziploc bag, we tape it to our outside door, and people just pick up, and that's how it works. So just call us, 978-356-6650, and we will have that waiting for you. So most of you should have received our May newsletter by now. It's always difficult to write that newsletter anyway, but it's especially difficult when you have no idea the month before what the following month will look like. So kind of had an idea in April that May still would not be a good month for programming. So we've gone and offered a lot of virtual programs, and there's already a lot out there. So we have given resources to people of where to go on virtual trips, how to go through the Louvre and see what's there. So in our newsletter, which is also available online on our website through the town, ipswichma.gov/COA, you can find information about a lot of that. There's also a lot of information for virtual programming through the library too. So there is that. We also have a lot of cable programs, cable TV programs that Beth has been busy filming. So all the ones that I've mentioned in the past are still available through the town's cable channel and also on the YouTube channel as well. Want to put in a plug for the planning department who's working on the community development plan survey. That is right directly in our newsletter in the middle section, the written survey. But you can also find it online. If you go to the town's main page on the website, there's a link for the survey. So now's the time to do that, as well as I've been plugging for the census. Now's the time to do all that online business. So that will really help the town for their community development plan, which focuses on the next 15 years, which is kind of nice right now to be thinking ahead, isn't it? So we are starting to get even better with some of our technology. As many of you have already done, we're learning every day new tools that are available. So Zoom is something that a lot of people have been using, has had some pitfalls a little bit with what they now call Zoom bombing, but we're working on safely having some programs run on Zoom. Our French class meets via Zoom, and you have to have a personal invitation for that. We're also having a special meet-up on Wednesday, May 13th for anybody that wants to join us, and we'll all have a good laugh because you can be sure that we really are still just figuring this out. But if you want to join us, what you need to just do is email me, which is coa@ipswichma.gov. You can tell me I'd love to learn how to do it, or I want to join, and give me your email, at which I'll have your email address and your name. And if you are new to Zoom, we are starting to work with some of our younger volunteers who will set you up ahead of time so that we won't have to figure out the ABCs of Zoom at that meeting, but the next level of Zoom. So we will have people get you ready to go. So once we're on Zoom, we'll all have figured out how to mute and how to get the video going. So we're really looking forward to that, and we just want to see everybody's faces. Well, it won't be, in person, but it will be live, and we really look forward to that. So talking about looking forward to the future, that's what we're also working on. Have no idea, to be honest with you, what that looks like. We really just want to get people in. We miss everybody, and but to that end, we need to be safe. So we need to figure out what the volume looks like, what the space looks like, what the level of programming looks like. So we are looking at all of that, both at the state level and at the local level. That's something every day that we're talking about and working on. So we're going to do as much as we can, as soon as we can, but maintain safety, which is critical. So then, one little last fun thing, next Friday, because like I said, we miss everybody. So we're going to drive around town in the van. Tony doesn't know about this, so we're going to drive around town on the van. We're going to be escorted by police and fire, who also want to be out there, and they've been having fun with some different celebrations and school things. So they're going to join us, and we're going to establish a route that I have not yet done. But so at 1 o'clock on Friday, May 8th, We will be driving around town. I will publish the route ahead of time, both on our Facebook page and on the COA website. So it'll probably, I mean, the town's pretty big, so it'll probably take at least an hour. So we'd love if it's nice out, hopefully, just for people to be outside a little bit, to wave, but we're just going to drive around and try and spread a little cheer. But at the very least, it's going to bring us a lot of cheer to be out and waving to our friends. So we look forward to that. So any questions, though, please reach out. And anything you need, please reach out, and we will try to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. That's a great idea for next Friday. I look forward to that. All right, up next we're going to have Chris Bevilacqua from the YMCA come in, and Chris will give us an update on what's going on with them and their programming to include, the emergency daycare centers they have set up and status of upcoming summer programs.
Thank you, Tony. How's everybody doing out there? At the Y, we are continuing with our COVID-19 relief support throughout the community. So it includes the same things we've been talking about over the week. We've just had some increases in people reaching out for the resources, which has been nice. So our Monday meal deliveries in collaboration with Dinner Bell, we're up to about 90 hot meals every week that we're delivering. Thanks to Rotary, we received a nice donation from Rotary to be able to expand capacity there, and we've had a number of volunteers from Rotary come down to help deliver the influx in meals, so that's been really nice, including volunteers from Ascension Church. Ray Morley from the Ipswich Inn volunteered last week to cook the meal, so we thank Ray for donating the meal and his time. And if anyone is looking for meals on Monday nights, again, every Monday night we deliver starting at 5 o'clock. You can reach out to Dorothy Calandra at the Ipswich Dinner Bell, and she will get you signed up for a meal. Tuesday meals continue as well, again, and thanks to a donor that had made a donation to both support the economy, wanted to make sure that local restaurants were able to get a boost, as well as provide free meals for folks in need. So again, that's a partnership with the COA, the schools or families on free and reduced lunch, as well as our housing authority and Powderhouse Village here in town. So to make sure that we could reach as many people as possible, we do about 113 meals on Tuesday nights. Again, thanks to the donor, we actually are now able, we were supposed to wrap up this coming Tuesday, but we're able to extend to May 12th. So we have another extra week that we're going to be able to deliver meals. So that's great, and it's been a great partnership. Grocery delivery in partnership with Open Door. So again, we're still delivering groceries every Wednesday and Thursday. We actually added 10 new families through our connection with Karen Tyler at the Veterans Service office here in the area. So she added 10 veterans families this week, which is nice. And then we also, through a connection with the Raleigh Council on Aging, were able to add 4 families from Raleigh. So it's been really nice that Open Door has been able to expand the reach that their Ipswich location has to extend into the shoulder communities as well. It's really nice to see Ipswich reaching out and helping everybody. So it's been nice to add them. In addition, we've been working with Cedars Hummus. So our YMCA in Haverhill has a connection with Cedars. They're a donor, and they've been donating hummus every week to us that we've been able to connect to the Open Door Food Pantry. So every week we've been making a delivery to them to help to support what they're doing every week, both in Gloucester and Ipswich. So that's been great. Lastly, through the YMCA, we're continuing with the emergency childcare. We're up to about 120 kids a day across the entire association, and about 500 kids a week. So again, children of first responders, emergency care workers, essential care workers, hospital workers. New thing that we started, we reached out to at the end of last week. We started reaching out to local first responders. We're offering free memberships, free 3-month memberships for first responders. So reached out to police and fire, hospitals, to make sure we could get those people connected to our virtual content and keep them connected to our Y when we reopen. The idea being that, they're all out there working really hard, and their mental health and physical health is important to keep them going, so we wanted to support that in any way we could. So we've got a lot of great response from police departments in the area already and fire departments about this promotion, so we're just excited to support those folks. We are still in the planning phases of camp and reopening the buildings, so again, waiting on guidance from the state, but we are prepared and ready to go when they say we can start operating under whatever conditions they say we can start operating. So excited to see everybody again and get the doors open. And finally, as we look to support the community and our members, we're really starting to focus on mental health support right now. So kind of at the point where we've been in some kind of quarantine for a while, and people are really starting to ask about, what are the opportunities to get some support around mental health, whether it's anxiety or isolation issues. So we've been working with Children's Friends and Family. We're in discussions with them to talk about how we can create and offer a couple of virtual workshops around dealing with anxiety and social isolation, and share those with our members in the community, and then see where it goes from there. Whatever other needs come up around mental health, just working with our partners to make sure we can address those. Those are the big things happening right now. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it.
All right, great. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate all your hard work and everything the Y's been doing for the community. It's been a great team effort, collaboration with the Y and us, to not only do the meals, but also other services as well. So thank you for that. All right, folks, that wraps up this week. We went a little longer than we normally do. We had some extra guests this week, so we hope you enjoyed that. Keep an eye out for Monday, May 4th. That's the next select board meeting. That'll be, agenda was already posted, and that'll be a Zoom call, so you can log into that or watch from home. It'll be broadcast live on ICAM. And new this week is we have figured out how to do Facebook Live. So we will also, on the Town of Ipswich MAA page that a lot of you have liked, and if those of you who haven't, feel free to do that. But again, on the Town of Ipswich MAA page, we will have the select board meeting broadcast live as well, the Zoom call that we will have on Monday, May 4th at 7 p.m. So thank you again, Ipswich. Be safe this weekend. The weather is going to get a little nicer, so please try to get out safely, social distance, and enjoy that. And have a great weekend. Thank you.